speaking as an only child, I kind of feel like we get a bad rap. What if Thor was an only child? I think easily the most out-and-out ridiculous comedic one. I would say there's been a comedic element to pretty much all of the episodes so far. Well, maybe not the Doctor Strange one, because that one just went out of its way to be edgelord, maybe not quite, but it could see the territory of edgelord without needing binoculars. Let's put it that way. But this was just a farce. This one is just comedy straight up, and it's kind of leaning on that a little bit. It's kind of counting on you, like, please find this funny and don't think about it too much. Because some things are accounted for, and some things track. Like the idea that if Loki and Thor weren't raised together, they might still end up friends. Honestly, that kind of makes sense to me. Thor just going all in on his partying aspects without a counterbalance. Not that Loki, balanced him out, but Loki helped create situations that forced him to balance out a little bit. And he had someone to be the good brother, comparatively. Not that Thor wasn't a party animal even in the original, but I'm just saying, I do feel like that kind of stuff tracks. But then, trying to figure out, why is Nebula here? And having fun? Because, Thanos is still a thing. And really don't think about the very end. What? I feel like that was just done because they were contractually obligated not to end an episode on "and they lived happily ever after." No, we have to show that things are somehow terrible. And so out of nowhere, Ultron has Vision as Ultron has the Infinity Stones. I'm sorry, what? Why? How? Huh? Yeah, that last 5 seconds was stupid and pointless. Spoilers, by the way. I can't even count that as a spoiler because it was so detached from everything that went on. But like I said, this is really leaning on its comedic approach to get away with a lot of what it's doing. It helps that it pulled in nearly all of the main cast members to reprise their roles, even down to ones who are only there for a few lines. They did get Jeff Goldblum in to voice the Grandmaster, and they actually got Natalie Portman in, they got Kat Dennings in, they got Chris Hemsworth in, and we haven't had the big Avengers voice actors for a lot of these. In some cases, I do think it's because, their contracts are up and they're like, I'm done. But in other cases, with people who are still around, I think it's been more of a scheduling issue. But it was nice to have him, and he definitely does a very good job of selling this raucous party version of Thor. So that was another thing that helped buoy it a bit, is hearing all the voices and being that's not an impersonator. Nice, because really the vast majority. Brie Larson's the most notable one, and again, I'm pretty sure it was a scheduling thing. And the voice they got is still pretty good. The thing is, I don't know if I have too much to say about this one. It just sets out to be ridiculous and raucous and funny, and honestly, more often than not, I actually find it very difficult to try and review straight up comedies, especially something this short, because ultimately at the end of the day, if you laughed, then it worked. When something's primary goal is to make you laugh, that is the only measure. Did you laugh or did you not? And I did. Not as much as I think the episode wanted me to. I think the biggest laugh I got was just that not last shot, but that towards the end shot of Frigga showing up on Earth, and there's Thor in front of chalkboards and here, study group, is what we are learning. And that got, I think, the most audible laugh out of me. But I was chuckling through it. It was entertaining. And that's really all it wanted to be. This one doesn't have a deeper meaning. This one doesn't have, a real depth of characters trying to explore. It doesn't this one definitely doesn't even function as like a backdoor pilot for maybe if people really like it, we'll give you this, the way things like the Captain Carter was, or honestly probably the zombies were. Not that I think they'll ever do that in the main universe, but like I wouldn't put it past them to open up a dimension and use the multiverse to bring in the zombies. Please don't. Marvel, please don't ever do that. But with a lot of these, I could see, like, from a certain angle, like, they were testing some concept, or they were exploring some character. This is really kind of neither, because to claim this is an exploration of Thor, this is an exploration, I guess, of the hedonistic, raucous Thor that the entire point of his opening arc was for him to be better than this. So to just dwell in that doesn't serve as a character exploration as much as just, hey, well, I mean, it was fun, right? And that's all. That's what this is. It was fun, right? Yeah, it was fun. And I really don't know what the heck else I have to add beyond that. The Watcher continues to become more and more visible. He's not even ethereal at all at this point by the time he shows up at the end. So that has to be going somewhere, right? We've only got a couple of episodes left in this run, and that has to be building to something. Although I do believe they've already. Here's the thing: I think they've already confirmed a second season on this. So what I wouldn't be surprised by is if, rather than building up to a thing that he does this season, that they build up to the idea of the Watcher saying, I'm going to start interfering, and then that ends up being more the heart of the next season, which would make, honestly, more sense, because if the core pitch of the show, at least the first season of the show, is let's explore these other possibilities, then you should probably stick to that. But eventually, you're gonna start to lose people. There's only so many what-if questions that are really going to give you good, meaty things to chew on, and arguably they haven't all been that in this season. People might get bored with the idea, so a good way to up the ante is, at the very end, to have the Watcher do some equivalent of, I must now interfere, I must step in, or he's going to do something that's going to start to bring these worlds together, and they're going to cross over between each other, and so people can go, ooh, what's that going to be like? Something to switch up the formula so it's not just this every time. Again, not that there's anything wrong with this format that they're using up to this point, but I think that it would, since they seem to be building towards something, it would make more sense that it becomes the premise of how the second season will be different from the first. Because I think especially at this point, there's so much more emphasis on serialization in especially streaming media. And granted, What If is being released a bit more like a traditional TV show, an episode per week kind of thing. But even with the other things that Marvel has done on Disney Plus, like say Loki, that have been done once a week and serialized, it has been about you want to come back to see what happens next. But when something's as episodic and as closed off as on premise What If actually is, if people eventually say, oh, well, I might be done rushing to see the new, What If whatever thing, well, how do you hook them back in? Oh, but we're going somewhere with this. And I've just spent probably the last 3 minutes or so going off on talking about what might happen at the end of the season, because honestly, I don't have a lot to say about this one. It was fun. That was all it wanted to be. It wanted to make use of the comedic chops of Chris Hemsworth especially, and honestly, most of the cast have pretty decent comedic chops, and it wanted to let them show those off, and it did that. And whether it works for you or not, I think it definitely is what it intended to be. The only question is, did you like it? I don't know. Did you? Comments down in the description. Let's talk about it. I got a Patreon. That's how I pay my bills. You can support me there, but don't worry too much about that, because like, share, and subscribe, they help me out as well, but no massive pressure there either, because we take a relaxed attitude around here. So just come on back next time you need a break.
This video wouldn't have been possible without the support of my patrons, and I want to give special thanks to Jared Boyce, MJ, The Doctor, Tracy Scrabbit, Vincent Paul Bartolucci, Caitlin Schwartz, Edelon, Robin Moore, Ross Schultz, and Shayla Gorley. Thanks so much.